Our first guest is Rosalie Bulach, who is the owner of a very successful local business, NameFinders. She's also a business advocate leader and probably as frustrated as lots of small business owners in San Francisco right now.
Correct.
But you're trying to find time to be a political leader of your group. And I think my view that this group could be the most powerful group, the small business, the 110,000 small business owners. Let's go through, first of all, NameFinders, the site is linked at our site. Tell us about when did you form it, and did you envision that it would be, you'd have these kinds of problems? Did you know that when you started?
No, I didn't. In fact, if I knew it then, hindsight is 20/20 vision. If I knew it then, I would have done it differently. But NameFinders, we're here 25 years, and started here in my garage, as everybody did. And what we do is we get targeted mailing lists for people so they don't do junk mail. So when people get that in their mailbox or on their internet or their email, it should be directed to people that want to receive it, and for information that they've shown an interest in the past. For example, if you're a tennis player and we have a tennis client, we'll get your name and they'll send you the information. But if you play basketball only and you get the same tennis information, it's really junk because it has no value to you. Mm-hmm. So that's really what makes junk mail, whether it has a value to the recipient.
How do you find these lists, Mike?
Well, they're all out there. Every company in the world has a mailing list of their customers and prospects. If it wasn't for direct mail marketing, most of the businesses would go out of business. Mm-hmm. For example, if you take newsletters, there are probably 14 or 15,000 newsletters, whether they be financial publications, how to crochet, anything like that. Where would they get this information? You can't walk down to your corner store and get it. Mm-hmm. I mean,
so you kind of you cross-reference all these different.
They're all cross-references, right?
And come up then with quality lists.
Correct.
Is it employee intensive?
No, well, it's employee intensive because of the research. We don't ever actually see the names. If we're using the list of Sharper Image for one of our clients, Sharper Image maintains that list. And all the list owners that rent their mailing lists out, they screen what's sent to their customers, mm-hmm. because they only want to send information that should be sent to them for the quality of the information that they want. Where people do junk mail is when people do not go to list brokers and when they get these compiled lists that you can get, $35, 1,000 names, and they start flooding mailboxes and they think that's direct mail. That's not direct mail. That's junk mail.
So you said just now, if you knew what you knew now about
right.
San Francisco and the way they regulate small business, you would have done things differently. How would you have done things differently?
First of all, I wouldn't have bought my house here and moved here.
You would have chosen somewhere else.
Absolutely. I moved here because, coming from, as you guess, Brooklyn, San Francisco reminds me of Brooklyn. Only it was a better view and it's cleaner and everything. And I decided to move out here and bought my house first because I figured, let me buy my house, because with business you never know what's going to happen. At least my house would be my retirement. And I'm glad I did that. So I bought my house here and I started my business in my garage. And there weren't all these infringements. I could run my business because it was mine. Mm-hmm. As an entrepreneur, I have a business because I don't want somebody to tell me what to do every day. Now, the city has their hands in our pockets. The city thinks that we're the ones making the money. The city says that we're lucky. Where we are today, business owners, luck had nothing to do with it. It's all hard work. We work from the morning we wake up to the time we go to bed at night. And why are we working for? We're working to maintain and grow our business. We're working to take care of our employees and get them hospitalization and sick leave and vacation. We're supplying the rental properties because we take pride in our city. This is our city. We buy homes. We maintain them. But now, all of a sudden, we're the enemy because we have it. But we worked for what we have.
Do you remember the times when the Bay Guardian, during the, I think about 10, 15 years ago, championed small business over the big corporations?
Right.
And they did dozens and dozens of articles and issues and cover stories about how important small business are. You don't see, unfortunately, the Bay Guardian defending you now.
They don't.
Nobody because does. Obviously it was a sham.
There's nothing in City Hall for us either.
Yeah.
We're persona non grata in City Hall.
On both ends of City Hall.
Yeah. I mean, it's very hard to get in there and then for people to listen to us. When the mayor wanted, with Prop K, we gave the mayor so many different ways in which to change the tax base.
Prop K, again, was a tax increase.
That's right.
And he supported it.
Yes, he did, and the small business, we were against it. And unfortunately for us, we won, which was a real shocker.
It was a shocker because it was probably one of the only times the small business community came together.
Right.
Why did not they continue, after they had built up that momentum, volunteers, money sources, momentum, passion, in order to become what they can become, which is the largest lobby in San Francisco with 110,000?
They should be.
What happened? Why didn't
I
that
don't know, because after that election, I said to some of the groups, I said, look, we won this, but we still have to look at the tax structure. The mayor has to look at the tax structure and change it because it's not fair. I'm one of 6,700 companies in the city that pay payroll tax. Most of the companies do not pay any tax. I said, we have to go to City Hall and work with the mayor and work with the finance committee to come up with a tax that would make sense, because we have to pay taxes to the city. We have all these services. It's a beautiful city. It doesn't run on air, and none of us mind paying tax, but I really resent when I have to pay payroll tax, and the company right down the hall from me doesn't pay payroll tax because it's a different type of business. I mean, duh, we're all here. They use the services just as I do and my staff does.
Then, of course, most recently, in addition to the minimum wage, but which probably would not affect you, but does affect a lot of thousands of small business. But let's move that aside for the comes sick leave, which has been challenged in the courts, and soon probably vacation time. Everyone knows that that's going to be the next step. And many say that these various initiatives are really being pushed by the large unions in San Francisco, because then they take that off the table in their negotiations, and they can negotiate more on the salary. Do you believe that?
I believe that, and the unions don't. But the unions don't have anything to do with small business.
Right, but they can influence. They influence the board of supervisors and the mayor.
That's right. But you see, the problem with all of this is it really is very scary to me. That the city is coming in to our businesses and telling us what we have to do to run our business. What is the next step? The city going into the people that live in the city and say to the parents, you have a child here. From now on, he gets $25 a week allowance, and you must pay that. And when summer comes, you must send them to a camp for 2 weeks, because this is how we regulate it. What is the difference of doing that or coming into my business and telling me what it is that I have to do? It's the same thing. It's very frightening to me, and I've said it over and over again. I'm glad I'm not 35 anymore, because I don't want to live in this kind of environment. This is not the America, the Brooklyn that I grew up in. This is not democracy.
What do you think is after vacation, mandated vacation time, and remember, mandated sick leave was also for temporaries, not just permanent employees. And not just for your own illness, but you could actually justify taking sick leave. You could give it to someone else.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
What other rumors have you heard of, other possible mandates, regulations, or ordinances that this liberal city hall has planned for small business?
After that, I stopped thinking and I stopped hearing, because it's too frightening to me. It's very frightening to me. It's very hard for me to run my business. I'm the last company in this city that's a list broker. They have all left because of what it costs me.
List brokers.
List broker, which is what we are. I am the only one left in this city. And I just lost a big client because I couldn't compete with the company that moved to Walnut Creek.
And why couldn't you compete?
Because of what it cost me to process orders and to run my company, my operations, which includes all the taxes that I have to pay, payroll tax. We have a tax on the phone, which people don't realize there's a business tax on the phone. We have all the perks that we have to give the staff. And they don't have that in Marin. The cost for doing business is so much lower than it is here. The rents. The city doesn't protect us. When the dot-com revolution came, which had nothing to do with my business, my rent went from $5,000 to $17,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. But then it dropped.
No, the only way what dropped is when I moved out, when my lease was up, and I had to stay there. I had no alternative to go anyplace else.
So going back to the fact that the way you try to establish friends in City Hall is by getting them elected, then why won't the business community get together and realize what you realize, or do they just realize they can leave and that's what they do? Do they rather take the easier step and just leave?
I think that's what's happening. We have San Francisco has an entrepreneurial mind, people that move here. And I just heard a survey that someone working for the Workforce Investment Board, a survey was presented, and they said that of the startups that come in the city, and it's disproportionately high because young people want to live here. Then when they get to a certain point that they're making money, they're either sold. Now, if they're sold, the company that buys them takes them out of the city. And if they stay in business for themselves, they're leaving the city. So our base of businesses is hardly growing because of the attrition. And that's what's happening.
It's also a certain kind of business that's developing now. I mean, it's digital. It's highly technologically grounded. It's not the kind of jobs that you can see young kids coming out of high school, out of the Bayview, out of Mission District, in biotechnology, digital arts. These are not those kinds of jobs.
We're not bringing in the business or growing the business for the jobs for the people in the Bayview.
The fact is, no business in their right mind would start up here unless they were one of these businesses that we just talked about that are very high-tech oriented, need venture capital, can afford the glitz.
That's right. But the others are not going to start here. Why would they? There's no benefit. I mean, there's no benefit. And when you look at what I don't understand, though, which I was talking about last night at one of our meetings, is the apathy of the small business owner. I mean, why aren't they out there fighting? I know we're working 24 hours a day, but they're allowing City Hall to take our businesses from us, to take our livelihood from us, and to take our way of life from us.
And force you out.
And force us out, and they complain, but they don't get up and do something. And I find, coming from New York, I'm not worried about being politically correct. I just say what I have to say. I put food on my table. Nobody else does. I'm independent. I can do what I want. And that goes for every other small business owner. Why don't they get up there and fight and be vocal and be heard and invest the time? This is their city. This is not City Hall City. It's our city. We're the ones that take care of the jobs. We're the ones that pay the real estate taxes. We're the ones that provide health care. The health care is not being provided by the big companies, the Walmarts. They're the ones that keep everybody as far as part-time payroll, so they never had to give them any benefits, didn't have to give them insurance. I have insurance. Every small business owner that I know has insurance and has always had insurance for their staff, has always given sick leave, has always given vacation. Now, and we gave it because we gave it with our heart, because that's who we are. Now they're telling us they're taking that, even the pleasure out of running a business and doing good for our employees. The city is even taking that away because now it's mandated. It's not something that I'm giving because it comes from my heart to help my employees. Because they help me grow my business, I want to help them grow themselves and their personal life. And even that they've taken away. Well, what's left? What's left? I mean, I'm at a loss of words, and for me that's pretty hard to be at a loss of words. But I don't know what to say. I don't know how to light a fire under the small business people, and that's what we have to do to survive in this city.
Is it possible it's only going to take a crisis?
Well, we've had a crisis. If you call health care and mandated sick leave, and now the other is not a crisis affecting small business.
Oh, it's affecting them, but
is.
Like you said, they're taking it quietly. They're only asking, how do we abide by the rules that have been designed for us? They're not asking us to change those rules, right? The great concern of the business community, the small business community, is, well, how do we calculate our sick leave? It's a sad story. I wanted you on because I want our viewers to see one entrepreneur and your reaction to what they're doing to you. The board may ignore you and the mayor may ignore you, but at least you're able to speak your mind. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Rosalie
I
Bulach.
really appreciate it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.